The tiny voice cut through the roar of motorcycle engines like a blade through silence. Please hide me from my dad. 14-year-old Tyler Williams stood in the doorway of the Iron Brotherhood Motorcycle Club's garage, clutching a blue backpack that seemed almost as large as his thin frame. His brown hair hung over frightened green eyes, darting nervously toward the darkness behind him. It was 2:00 a.m. in Medford, Oregon. Mike Thunderbolt Davidson, the club president with a face mapped by battle scars and weathered by desert winds, slowly approached. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across his leather-clad shoulders as he knelt to meet Tyler at eye level. "What's your name, kid?" he asked, his gruff voice softening just enough to coax an answer. Tyler Williams," came the trembling reply. "My dad's coming to find me, and I can't go back. My mom said if something bad ever happened, I should find the scary-looking people who fight monsters." Scott Chain Miller, the club's enforcer and Thunderbolt's right hand, stepped forward. The moonlight gleamed off his dark skin as his massive frame blocked the doorway. "Where's your mom now, Tyler?" The boy's eyes filled with tears, but his voice remained steady. "Mom's with the angels now. That's what Dad said." He swallowed hard, his small shoulders squaring despite his fear. "But I think Dad made her go there. She had red stuff on her head before she went away." The bikers exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between men who had seen enough violence to recognize the meaning of red stuff. "How'd you find us, kid?" Thunderbolt asked, noting the bruises visible on Tyler's wrists. "Mom showed me once when we drove past. She said if anything really bad happened, I should find you guys." Tyler opened his backpack with trembling hands. "I brought Mom's phone with the video she took, and this," what he pulled out made every biker in the garage go cold. A kitchen knife with dried blood crusted on the blade. "Dad was hurting Mom with this, so I took it," Tyler explained, the innocent practicality in his voice making the horror even more stark. "Mom always said to keep evidence." Before anyone could respond, Tyler pulled out something else, a small Hello Kitty flash drive. "Mom said this was super important. She put all Dad's secret stuff on it and told me if anything happened to her, I should give it to people who could stop him." Chain leaned closer, his expression grave. "Your dad, what does he do, Tyler?" "He used to be a cop," Tyler whispered. "Now he sells the blue stuff that makes people crazy. He has meetings with scary men who carry guns." The boy hugged his backpack tighter. "And he hates me because I'm gay. Says it's against God's plan and that he needs to beat the sin out of me." Thunderbolt's jaw tightened as he recognized the magnitude of what stood before him. Not just a child fleeing abuse, but one carrying evidence against a drug trafficker with law enforcement connections, in a town with Oregon's highest rate of LGBTQ youth homelessness. The sound of approaching vehicles broke the moment. Headlights swept across the windows as Tyler's eyes widened in terror. "That's Dad's truck. Please don't let him take me." Hit that subscribe button for heart stories, because what happens next will reveal how the most unlikely guardians can become the fiercest protectors, and how one boy's courage would spark a revolution in a system that had failed too many children like him. Richard "Rick" Williams stepped out of a black pickup truck, flanked by two men whose calculating eyes scanned the garage with professional detachment. Tyler shrank behind Thunderbolt as his father's familiar silhouette appeared in the doorway, backlit by headlights. Rick's police training was evident in his stance, feet planted shoulder-width apart, right hand hovering near his waistband where a concealed weapon likely waited. "That's my son you're harboring," Rick called out, his voice carrying the artificial calm of someone accustomed to commanding respect. "He's confused, needs his medication, been making up stories again." His smile never reached his cold eyes as he addressed the bikers. "Just a family matter. Nothing for the Iron Brotherhood to concern themselves with." Thunderbolt stepped forward, positioning himself between Tyler and his father. "Kid seems pretty clear-headed to me," he replied evenly. "Says you hurt his mother. Says she's not coming back." Rick's expression hardened. Sarah had problems. Accidents happen in troubled marriages. His gaze shifted to Tyler. "Son, where's the flash drive? Those files are private family business." From the back of the garage, Ray Viper Thompson emerged from the shadows. His tattooed arms crossed over his chest. "We're risking everything for some gay kid's drama," he muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. "This isn't our fight. Cartels don't play nice when you mess with their distribution records." The tension in the room crystallized as Tyler's small voice cut through. "It's not just drug stuff. There's videos of what he did to Mom on her phone. And the knife," his voice broke. "The knife has his fingerprints and Mom's blood." Rick's composure fractured for just an instant. "That drive contains operational details for drug trafficking routes across 3 states. One of his companions interjected smoothly. "Names, dates, payoffs to officials. If this gets to the DEA, a lot of dangerous people will be very unhappy." Dave Doc Martinez stepped forward, the former combat medic's eyes reflecting a deeply personal pain. "My brother was gay," he said quietly. "Parents threw him out at 16, killed himself a year later." He turned to Viper. "Still think this isn't our fight." Viper's jaw worked as conflicting loyalties battled across his weathered face. "You're making enemies we can't afford," he warned, but his stance had softened slightly. Outside, more vehicles arrived, Rick's reinforcements preparing for a confrontation. Inside, Tyler pulled up a video on his mother's phone and handed it to Thunderbolt. The screen showed Sarah Williams documenting her bruises, her voice narrating dates and details with the methodical precision of someone creating evidence. "If anything happens to me," her recorded voice stated firmly, "please protect Tyler. Rick will kill him too." Tyler stepped out from behind Thunderbolt, all 4 feet of him, facing down his father. "You hurt Mom," he said, his voice gaining strength with each word. "You made her go away forever. The police are going to know everything now." Rick's face contorted with rage. "You ungrateful little..." He reached inside his jacket, but never finished the gesture. What followed lasted less than 2 minutes. When it ended, Rick Williams and his companions were unconscious on the garage floor, and Tyler stood watching, his expression a complex mixture of relief, grief, and the first tentative blooms of safety. The choice now facing the Iron Brotherhood transcended their code of brotherhood. This wasn't just about protecting a witness. It was about deciding what kind of men they would choose to be when confronted with innocence that needed defenders, especially when that innocence came in a form some of them had been conditioned to reject. Their decision would redefine what family truly means beyond blood, beyond beliefs, beyond the comfortable boundaries of acceptance. The following hours unfolded in organized chaos. Chain contacted an old military buddy now working for the DEA while Thunderbolt secured the garage. The evidence Tyler had brought, the flash drive, phone videos, and the knife, was carefully preserved. Rick Williams and his associates were zip-tied and separated, their weapons confiscated. Through it all, Tyler remained eerily composed, as though the danger he had lived with daily had prepared him for this moment of reckoning. It was only after federal agents arrived that Tyler's composure finally shattered. The boy collapsed into violent tremors, his small body unable to contain the accumulated trauma any longer. Doc Martinez wrapped him in a blanket, recognizing the symptoms of shock with professional efficiency, but addressing Tyler with gentle patience born from personal loss. "My brother looked just like you when he crashed," Doc murmured, checking Tyler's pulse. "Same eyes, same way of trying to be stronger than anyone should have to be." The seizures began that night, Tyler's body rebelling against months of sustained fear. His fever spiked to dangerous levels as nightmares gripped him, causing him to cry out for his mother between bouts of delirium. The Iron Brotherhood found themselves transformed from hardened bikers into awkward caregivers, learning to administer children's medicine and take temperature readings with unexpected tenderness. By morning, Sarah Mitchell from Oregon's Department of Human Services arrived, clipboard in hand and skepticism evident in her pinched expression. "The state has protocols for children in crisis," she announced, surveying the motorcycle club's headquarters with thinly veiled disapproval. especially in cases involving homicide and organized crime. Her eyes lingered on the tattooed arms of the men surrounding Tyler's makeshift bed. He'll need to be placed in emergency foster care immediately. Thunderbolt's response was immediate and unyielding. He stays with us. Sarah's professional mask slipped momentarily. Mr. Davidson, you have multiple felony convictions. Your club has documented connections to veterans who've seen enough abandoned kids in war zones. Thunderbolt interrupted. Tyler chose us. His mother sent him to us. We're not letting him disappear into a system where LGBTQ kids are statistically more likely to face abuse. The standoff continued as Tyler's case gained complexity. The flash drive had exposed a methamphetamine distribution network stretching from California to Washington, with Medford as its hub. Rick Williams' position as a former police officer had shielded operations for years, and his connections to local officials complicated matters further. Tyler was now a key witness against both his father and a cartel, requiring protection beyond standard witness security protocols. Meanwhile, Tyler began the slow process of healing. During his lucid periods, the boy revealed the years of abuse he and his mother had endured, the religious justifications his father had used for violence, the isolation, the threats. He spoke of his mother's careful documentation, her quiet resistance, and her contingency plans. Mom knew they wouldn't believe us without lots of proof. Tyler explained one evening as the fever began to recede. She said people always trust cops more than victims. As days stretched into weeks, an unlikely custody battle took shape in Jackson County Family Court. Conservative community members organized protests against motorcycle criminals raising an impressionable boy, while LGBTQ advocacy groups from Portland rallied support for what they viewed as a challenge to discriminatory placement practices. The Iron Brotherhood's garage underwent gradual transformation, motorcycle parts sharing space with school books, leather jackets hanging alongside a child's hoodie, the refrigerator stocked with chocolate milk alongside beer. The club members found themselves navigating unfamiliar territory, attending parent-teacher conferences, researching trauma-informed care approaches, learning to create a safe environment for a gay teen when some of them had grown up using the same slurs Tyler's father had wielded. Through their stumbling efforts to protect this child who had literally appeared on their doorstep, these men began confronting their own prejudices. Their journey revealed that sometimes the most profound healing happens when we open ourselves to protecting others from the very wounds we once helped create or silently allowed to fester in our communities. By the third month, routines had formed within the Iron Brotherhood's headquarters. Tyler's corner of the common room had evolved into a teenager's space. Posters carefully selected to cover the more explicit motorcycle artwork, a desk for homework, and a small rainbow flag pinned beside his pillow. The club members had developed their own systems for Tyler's care. Thunderbolt handling school communications, Chain managing security, Doc overseeing medical needs, and even Viper reluctantly taking on homework supervision due to his unexpected aptitude for mathematics. Emma Green, the Portland LGBTQ youth counselor who volunteered her services after hearing Tyler's story, observed these developments with professional interest. "What you've created here defies conventional wisdom about placement," she told Thunderbolt during one of her weekly visits. "Tyler's trauma indicators are improving faster than I'd have predicted in traditional foster settings." Viper's transformation proved most surprising. The man who had initially objected to helping some gay kid now routinely drove Tyler to school, waiting in the parking lot with intimidating vigilance. The change accelerated after a phone call that left Viper sitting alone in the garage, staring at his phone for hours. "My son called," he finally confided to Thunderbolt. "First time in 7 years. Says he saw Tyler's story on the news." His weathered face contorted with emotion rarely displayed. "Turns out he's gay too, living in Portland with his partner. Thought I'd disown him if I knew." Viper's laugh held no humor. "Funny thing is, he was right. Back then I would have. Now I'm wondering how many years I wasted." The legal battle intensified as Sarah Mitchell's professional assessment evolved. Her initial reports had strongly recommended against placing Tyler with the motorcycle club, but her subsequent observations documented unexpected positive outcomes. The unconventional nature of this arrangement appears beneficial to the subject's recovery, she wrote, choosing her bureaucratic phrasing carefully. The supportive male role models, despite their unconventional backgrounds, demonstrate consistent commitment to the child's well-being. Tyler's Young Warriors support group at school grew from 3 members to 15. Children from troubled homes finding strength in their shared experiences under Tyler's earnest leadership. The boy who had arrived broken began emerging as someone who could channel his trauma into helping others, displaying a resilience that impressed even Judge Elizabeth Sanders, who made an unprecedented visit to observe the living arrangement before making her final custody determination. The cartel, however, had not forgotten the flash drive that threatened their operation. The attack came at dusk, 4 men attempting to breach the club's security while most members attended a custody hearing. Tyler and Doc Martinez were alone when the intruders smashed through the back entrance, armed and focused on retrieving both the boy and any remaining evidence. What the attackers hadn't counted on was that Tyler had spent months absorbing the Brotherhood's protective instincts. When Doc was wounded, Tyler didn't freeze in terror as expected. Instead, he implemented the club's emergency protocols with remarkable clarity, securing the panic room, triggering the silent alarm, and applying pressure to Doc's injury exactly as he'd been taught. "You okay, Uncle Doc?" Tyler asked, his young voice steady as he maintained pressure on the wound. Doc's pained smile reflected pride deeper than the concern for his injury. "Yeah, little warrior, I'm okay." By the time Thunderbolt and the others returned, local police had apprehended the assailants. The sight of Tyler calmly helping paramedics treat Doc's wound crystallized what had been forming for months. This wasn't just a temporary arrangement or a case of protective custody. This was family, forged in crisis but solidified through the daily acts of care that define true belonging. The incident transformed the custody battle in unexpected ways. Community opposition softened as news spread of Tyler's courage. The image of a frightened gay teen had evolved into that of a brave young man who protected his guardian, challenging preconceptions about strength, sexuality, and the nature of family bonds. Through their journey together, both Tyler and the Brotherhood demonstrated that healing and growth come not from avoiding differences, but from embracing them with courage and commitment. 5 years transformed both Tyler Williams and the Iron Brotherhood. The custody hearing that granted Thunderbolt permanent guardianship became a landmark case in Oregon family law, cited in subsequent decisions involving unconventional family structures. Judge Elizabeth Sanders' ruling eloquently articulated what many had come to understand. Family is not defined by convention, but by commitment, not by sameness, but by sacrifice, and most importantly, by the provision of safety and the nurturing of growth. The evidence from Tyler's flash drive led to one of the largest methamphetamine trafficking busts in Pacific Northwest history. 27 arrests dismantled not only the drug network, but exposed corruption within local law enforcement. Richard Williams received multiple life sentences, his conviction bringing closure to both Tyler and Sarah's memory. The Iron Brotherhood evolved alongside Tyler. Their Iron Wings Foundation became an officially recognized nonprofit supporting LGBTQ youth rejected by their families. What began as one frightened boys sanctuary expanded into programs serving dozens of vulnerable teens across Oregon. Tech companies from Portland and Seattle provided funding, impressed by the unlikely alliance between former outlaws and LGBTQ advocates. At 19, Tyler entered the University of Oregon's pre-law program, his experiences shaping his determination to reform family law and child protection services. The boy who once trembled in a garage doorway now spoke confidently at legislative hearings, his testimony instrumental in passing Tyler's Law, which strengthened protections for at-risk LGBTQ youth throughout the state. Ray Viper Thompson experienced perhaps the most profound transformation. His reconciliation with his gay son became a powerful narrative within the foundation's outreach work, demonstrating how deeply entrenched attitudes could evolve through connection and courage. Their joint presentations to rural communities opened difficult conversations in places where silence had long prevailed. The motorcycle club's headquarters still housed their bikes and leather jackets, But visitors now also found college pennants, advocacy literature, and photographs documenting their journey. One image held special prominence. Tyler at 14, standing between Thunderbolt and Chain, his small hand clutching his blue backpack on that first night. Beside it hung a recent photo of Tyler in his university sweatshirt, surrounded by the men who had become his family, his smile reflecting not just survival, but triumph. Sometimes the most broken people become the best protectors. Tyler often said during foundation events, and sometimes family isn't about who shares your blood, but who would spill theirs to keep you safe. The flash drive that had saved Tyler's life remained in evidence storage, its contents having served justice. But the blue backpack still accompanied him everywhere, a reminder that courage comes in many forms, that healing is an ongoing journey, and that sometimes the smallest people carry the greatest capacity to change the world around them. What unexpected place did you find family or support when you needed it most? Share your story in the comments below. And if this journey from darkness to light touched something in you, subscribe to Heart Stories for more reminders that heroes often appear where we least expect them, and that sometimes those deemed dangerous by society become the fiercest protectors of those society has failed.